Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of videos and comments from pastors saying, hey, I'm getting pushback because I didn't talk about Charlie Kirk on Sunday, or I didn't really make any sort of significant mention about it. But I just want you to know that, at our church, our services are only about Jesus, and we just really want to focus on Jesus. We don't want to focus on anybody else. And look, that sounds good, and I understand what they think they're saying, but here's the reality. I want you to ask yourself a question for a second. Do you think that the early church in the book of Acts talked about Stephen after he was stoned to death? Do you think that the early church in the book of Acts talked about James after he was beheaded? Do you think that the second century church talked about people like Polycarp after they were burned at the stake and then had a spear thrust through their side to kill them? Do you think that those groups talked about the martyrs that they experienced, that were among them, that were in their midst, that gave their lives for the sake of the gospel? Nobody is trying to glorify or deify Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was my friend. Charlie Kirk was my boss. But what we are saying is that giving your life for Jesus and standing up strong and not being afraid of this world and being willing to testify, even at the risk of personal peril, even to the point of giving of your own life, that should be an honorable thing, that should be something that the church should remember and celebrate and uplift. The Bible says that the martyrs of God are actually precious in his sight, but unfortunately, they don't seem to be very precious to every single pastor or person who calls themselves a man of the cloth. So I just want to issue this maybe challenge to those of you that are going to churches that didn't mention Charlie. I'm not trying to say that a pastor has to say specific things, but what I am saying is this, that this is a canary in the cage. If your pastor wasn't strong during COVID, if your pastor didn't know what to do when all the technocratic policies were being forced on the American people, they didn't really know how to address that. If they were silent with the overturning of Roe, if they were silent in the face of kind of this rainbow cult that we have seen, and now they're silent at the assassination of Charlie Kirk, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say maybe you're in the wrong church.